Hey guys, welcome to Redneck Off the Range. I'm snowed in today, so I figured I would make a video or two. Today's video, I want to do an unboxing of this Kobalt socket set that I got for Christmas to go in my car. Now, I have both a car and a truck that I drive fairly regularly, and I would like to have a good inventory of tools in each one of them so that if something happens while I'm on the road or wherever I'm at, I can pull out my tools and fix the problem. So I got this set here to go in my car because I put my main toolbox in my truck, and so I needed to put more tools back into my car. So I got this set here. It's just a small set. I don't really remember how much this cost, maybe like $30. Again, it was a Christmas present, so I don't know exactly how much it cost, but as you can see, it's fairly small. It's actually smaller in size than my bit socket set that I showed off in a previous video. But as you can see, the case is a pretty good case. It's got, it's black and blue, and it has a nice metal latch. So, seems pretty robust. Opening it up here, you can see it has both metric and standard size sockets. It also has a 3/8 inch ratchet with 90 teeth, as you can see on the button there, if it'll focus. But it does say 90 on the button, and that's another thing, is it does have the push button release. So you can, push the button, put the socket on, and it'll keep it on there until you release the button. Which is, something that seems fairly standard, but I have seen plenty of ratchets and torque wrenches that don't have a push button release like this, and I don't know why. I guess those are just cheaper models. But the Kobalt ratchets, at least all the ones that I have, and I have quite a few, they all have the push button release, and I really, really like that. So I'm glad Kobalt puts that on their tools. Now, one thing I do want to point out, and it's because I have issues with this with other tool sets, even Kobalt tool sets, is that this particular set has pretty good retention on all of the tools in the case. I have had sets, and I've seen sets of sockets and wrenches, both from Kobalt and from other tool companies, that they don't have good retention. And if anytime you open up the case or pull the drawer out, it will, you'll just have a jumbled mess in there. And I don't really appreciate that. So I'm glad that at least on all these smaller sets that I have from Kobalt, that they all have really good retention on their tools. We do have one big Kobalt set that has half of the sockets have good retention and half of them don't have any retention, and it just creates a big jumbled mess, and that's no good. So anyway, other than the sockets, you do have a I think this is 5/8 inch spark plug socket. And so that's a good thing to have if you ever have to replace your spark plugs. I do have several more of these in other sets and toolboxes that I have. So pretty much wherever I am, I'm going to have one of these in my tool arsenal. And it does have a little 3/8 inch extension, which is good. I do recommend whatever tool set you get at least a couple more extensions of varying lengths, because you never know how long of an extension you're going to need, and of course you can put them together to make them longer, but by default it comes with a 3-inch extension, which is pretty standard for most socket sets to come with a small 3-inch extension. Okay, as far as the sockets actually go, as you can tell, they are color coded. So metric, for Kobalt anyway, metric is blue and standard is red. I really wish they would put these color codings on their other styles of sockets as well. Like their bit sockets, you could have like green for Torx and orange for hex or something like that, but they don't. And they also have their sizes are laser etched on there. So this is 19 millimeter. That's the biggest. That's the biggest metric one that's in there. So metric goes from 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Does not skip any sizes. There is no 8. I think they do make an 8 millimeter and a 3/8 inch drive, but there is no 8 in here. It just goes from 9 to 19. Standard, let's see what we got here. Standard goes from 5/16 all the way up to 7/8. So you have 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, half, 9/16, 5/8, 11/16, 3/4, 13/16, and 7/8. So it doesn't skip any sizes in there. I know, there's like a bunch of, 30 seconds sizes, but those are usually in like 1/4 inch drive. The smaller sizes, when you get into like a little more precise sizing, typically in 3/8 inch and in 1/2 inch drive, you go in multiples of 16ths instead of 30 seconds. So it's good that it doesn't skip any sizes. Now, the only other thing I need to point out is this particular set has 12-point sockets. So it's not a standard 6-point socket, which can be good or bad. I would prefer that it would be a 6-point socket. Reason being is because when it's a 6-point and it's more of a hex, you have more purchase on the nut or the bolt on the flats. So when you have a 12-point socket like this, you don't have as much metal on the flat edges of the nut or the bolt to grip it. Now this is ideal for a couple of reasons, and that is one, you can put it on the bolt in multiple, several different positions. It's easier to turn it just a little bit and slide it over the bolt head. And the other reason that this is a little more ideal for some people is because there are 12-point bolts or nuts. They're not as common, but they do exist, and I guess that's why they make these, is for those very rare bolt heads or nuts. And these will slip over those just fine. But for your basic 6-point nuts and bolts, a 6-point socket will do just fine. So I don't see a reason for just a basic set like this to have 12-point sockets, but I guess that's just my opinion and not theirs. Other than that, I think that's really all there is to say about it. Another thing about the case is it does show you what goes where on the actual plastic casing itself. So like here it says extension bar 3 inches, 5/8 inch spark plug, and it just tells you all the different sizes for your sockets, your 18, 19 millimeter, your 3/4, it has all those different sizes and just descriptions on the actual box itself. So that's cool, in case you are having problems figuring out where the socket goes. But anyway, that is the Kobalt 3/8 inch drive socket set. I don't know the exact model number, but it is one of the smaller sets that has both metric and standard, and of course it also has the spark plug. It only has shallow well sockets. It does not have the deep well sockets. So if you need deep well sockets, you might want to pick yourself up a set of those as well. or just pick up the sizes that you need, which is also an option. But anyway, I'm going to throw this in my car along with my bit socket set, and that's going to cover a pretty good variety of tools that I need. Now, of course, I have a few other tools I need to throw in a toolbox and put in my car, but this is a good start. For anybody who wants to carry tools or, a tool kit in your car, I think a kit like this is a good way to start off your kit. Just have, a small basic socket set like this, and then maybe get yourself a toolbox and add a few other things like pliers, wrenches, just different tools that you might need. That's how I started. I have a toolbox that I bought a toolbox and I just started buying tools that I knew I needed, and then whenever I would find a need for a tool, I would buy that tool and just throw it in the toolbox. So anyway, this is a good start for something like that. So subscribe to my channel, and until next time, be safe.